Three, two, one, liftoff.
Cannabinoid Connect, the nation's most diverse cannabis-related podcast.
All right, we are recording. Jameson, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm excited to talk with you today. I mean, you have firsthand experience in, starting from the garage and basically building out to being a global brand at this point. So really looking forward to kind of talking to you about how you've scaled CBDfx. But before we do, let's kind of just kick it off on that saga, the from garage to global. Tell me a little bit about yourself, the origin story, and how y'all got started.
Love it. Yeah. My two childhood friends of mine and I had an idea in 2010. After watching my mom quit smoking. She smoked my whole life growing up, and there was many years where she's like, okay, this is my last pack of cigarettes, that kind of thing. And I watched her to struggle with, going back to them, a couple weeks later, things like that. And in my early 20s, there were these things that started to come that I pop up at different gas stations and liquor stores and whatnot. And there were just those electronic cigarettes. This is before Juul and all that. So it was this new technology and had a little bit of nicotine. So and it emulated the act of puffing on something. So
Mhm.
I thought maybe these could help her. And so every time I got gas, I would just buy a couple. And next time I saw her, I'd give her one or two. And little by little, she said, "Hey, I'm actually like smoking less actual cigarettes." And so I was talking with my friends over lunch. I'm like, this is like just real new technology, and it seems to be like solving a problem that millions and millions of people are going through. And so maybe I should look into it. So I did some more research and kind of looked up a couple of the bigger brands at the time. At the time, it was just Blue Cigs and a company called Enjoy that were in the stores primarily. And so there was nothing in for younger people either. They all looked like cigarettes. They were like tan and white and that kind of thing. They didn't look cool at all, right? So and my one childhood friend that we started our parent company with is a guy named Jordan Farmar. He was on the Lakers at the time. And so a lot of his friends are professional basketball players and athletes and things as well. And so as we went through this R&D process and had these samples and tried to figure out what we wanted the product to look like, we ended up really wanting to make them look completely opposite from cigarettes and like a silvery color, different, that kind of thing, so that it didn't look like you were actually still smoking. So we started this brand in 2010 with zero nicotine products and products with a little bit of nicotine. The zero nicotine products actually ended up being the best sellers. And so we begged, barred, and stealed and stole. And our first production run was, I think, $20,000, and it showed up at my buddy Jordan's house. And we operated this business for the first year and a month or so out of his house. Did our first like $2.5 million from that garage. And it
Wow.
was really the sales, the way that we got sales at the time, because we didn't know anyone, we didn't know distributors or how to go about getting the word out, was just me getting in a car, a Jordan's car actually at the time, and just driving from like 7-Eleven to Chevron to like all these various convenience stores, and basically like trying to convince them to pay $120 for like this little kit and put it on the counter, and then I'll come back in a week and pay me for whatever you sold or pay me up front or whatever. It was just kind of like begging them to let us leave it on the counter kind of thing. So we did that. I did that for the first few weeks and got our first couple hundred locations, and then I'm getting onesie twosie calls to drive like 45 minutes that way or an hour this way to go refill these people because they're getting kind of empty. And then we hired our first employee, and that person was doing the servicing while I was going hunting out the new stores, and it kind of built like that organically. And we eventually started to meet people, and eventually got our first distributor, and then eventually got our first chain customer, which was a couple hundred stores here in California. And then eventually got some nationwide national accounts. And fast forward to 2014 when the 2014 Farm Bill passed, we were doing pretty well, and had a bunch of relationships and had a decent team at the time, and moved into a warehouse and all this kind of stuff, and kind of like trying to professionalize things. And then we had a customer that had about 1,150 stores at the time that we were doing a lot of business with, and the lady who was the buyer at this for this retailer called and said, "Hey, I just left this trade show in New Jersey, and this guy was rubbing like this cream on my arm and swearing that it's the next best thing. It just became legal. It's cannabis, but it's not cannabis, and all this stuff." And she was like 90 years old at the time. And she has
So you were
just
like,
been in.
man, if this lady at this age is talking about this and open to it, there's something there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the retailer is a prominent retailer in the mall that sells like lava lamps and counterculture stuff and things. So there, she was kind of a hip lady, and she was used to all that that world. But she goes to these smoke shop shows and on a yearly basis to try to see if there's anything new and interesting. But we were doing so much business with these zero nicotine electronic cigarettes that she's like, Jameson, if you're willing to look into this, first tell me if it's legal. I trust you, and then tell me that you're willing to please like put together a few products for us because I think it would resonate with our customers. So I said, say no more. Her name was Lauren. I said, say no more. Like, Lauren, give me like 24 hours. I'm going to become a quick expert on this and then I'll get right back to you. Because we were doing so much business in just flavored air products at the time. Literally, they did nothing for anyone. So I hung up the phone and I'm like, everybody stop everything, like that kind of thing. The whole company had to just kind of screech to a halt. And we were like, let's look into this farm bill, this hemp thing. I guess it just happened like a couple weeks before. And
You
and
guys were already set up just to pivot.
as we
Yeah.
were looking into it, I'm like, wow, we all got more and more and more excited. Like this is the beginning of a whole new industry. Hemp hasn't been legal in forever. And now all these products are possible. So, needless to say, we did develop a couple of products. We had to pick a brand name quick and all this stuff. And we developed a few products for them. The way they test things is they test in 50 stores, and if you sell, a certain percentage, it's deemed a success within the first 30 to 60 days. So they tested it. It was successful. It rolled out to all their stores, and we expanded on that program, and it did really well. But it basically gave us like the stepping stone to create the whole brand, and there was the CBDfx brand. And we didn't even have a website or anything for a long time because we weren't really, our core competency really wasn't in the e-com direct to consumer space to start. It was just me driving store to store along with a couple of buddies and that kind of thing. So eventually, we popped up a website and it was just more like brochureware at the time. It just say like, you at a bar or a restaurant with somebody, this is our brand, kind of thing. It's like a catalog, like a digital catalog. And then we made it shoppable, 6 months, a year later. And then we started seeing sales generated through the website. And we're like, wow, this is like $400 or $500 a day. And then it became like $800 a day. Then it broke like $1,000 a day. We're like, wow, we should really focus on this and put it and try to put some attention here because it could be really sizable one day. And then little by little, we started kind of like teaching ourselves, SEO for dummies kind of thing, and then just learning what it took to be a best in class e-commerce brand. And then fast forward to today, like the vast majority of our revenues from our website and our websites globally and through Amazon in the UK and that kind of thing. So it's been a really fun journey, like you said, from garage to global. I'm going to steal that if you don't mind. Yeah.
No, of course, take it. And no, I appreciate that all the context. It really helps set the stage, And I want to dig a bit deeper though and talk about, the behind the scenes, right? So I can imagine even today there are operational hurdles, right? So tell me about some of the challenges that you faced initially, and then as you've scaled this CBD brand, what do those challenges look like today?
That's a great question. Initially, the biggest challenge was consumer education, because even now, sometimes we get customer service inquiries, and they're like, "Is this legal in my state, or is this, can I buy this a CBD gummy?" And so it was a lot of education in the beginning, just like that lady Lauren didn't really know where if it was real, like, if she could actually buy these things. And in the beginning, we couldn't get a bank account. We had to kind of not mention that we were a CBD brand. It was tricky. Merchant accounts were, the fees were through the roof if they would accept you at all, that kind of thing. Now things have been a lot more, and in the beginning, the 2014 Farm Bill, they had language in there that you had to source your industrial hemp from a licensed industrial hemp farmer. And there was other language as well that made it a bit restrictive. So there was no farmer in the US that had a license to grow industrial hemp because the whole thing was so new. So in order to operate legally, you couldn't even source the hemp from the US, even though there was a lot of people starting to grow hemp and things. But we had to source our hemp from Europe, which was the only place in the world that people had licenses to grow industrial hemp at the time. Um, so for the first year and a half or so, the cost of CBD was just through the roof. So we had to try to be competitive on pricing and not price yourself out of the market and negotiate with these guys in Europe and then pay to ship it over here and then pay to manufacture with it. It was just while your competitor down the street might not care about checking that box and just kind of buy the cheapest product locally, which wouldn't be compliant until the 2018 Farm Bill kind of cleared up a lot of those things.
And when the 2018 Farm Bill passed, is that when commercial licensed growers were able to have a license and that kind of kicked off the growing, or when did that all take place? It was only a year and a half, you said, of having to
Yeah, there started to
import.
be guys in the U.S. that had all the paperwork, all the licenses, but they had to jump through a bunch of hoops, and that takes a little while. So yeah, there was quickly guys, and it was you've talked to enough people. There was definitely a big kind of like a gold rush mentality to CBD as like the next huge category, and so for years these companies went public based on the capacity, the extraction capacity of their facility, not necessarily the business that they had, waiting at the front door to buy the finished product from them. So similar to like the dot-com boom, where people were valued at clicks, not really revenue. It was just kind of like that's the value metric. For a little while, a long while actually, like these hemp and cannabis companies were valued at the capacity of what their output could be. Um, and when all these guys built these huge facilities and raised a bunch of money, and then the business has to be there to support it, right? So you saw a lot of that kind of implosion over time. So there was no shortage of qualified hemp suppliers, and then over time the cost comes down because so much there's only so much demand and there's a ton of product. So
Yeah.
now everything's been pretty stable for some time, and a lot of the guys that have raised a bunch of money and either went public or did some sort of a deal, they're most of them are kind of licking their wounds a little bit is kind of the feeling, and the guys that have been focused on running like good efficient businesses, and keeping an eye on all the different KPIs, not trying to grow too fast, but also being competitive are kind of are stable and the players today.
Is that how you would describe CBDfx's approach?
Yeah, we've never gone into debt. We've never raised big institutional capital. We have a really small group of shareholders. And we've never, had been in a position to have to raise a bunch of money in order to do this one marketing campaign or that kind of thing. We typically take a more cautious approach. We're like a crawl, walk, run, sprint kind of a group. And if something's working or if something's worth testing, we all kind of roundtable war room agree on it, and then we'll deploy like a little bit of money to see if it'll work. And then if it works, then we'll pour a little bit more gas on it, a little bit more gas on it. Because our goal is to grow, of course, and to make sure that our products are in as many customers' hands that enjoy them and that kind of thing. But it's never been this spray and pray thing, or it's never been this big, we're going to sponsor all of the UFC or the NFL or whatever. It hasn't been those big moments, and we've watched a lot of those be announced, and then a year later they have to be unwound, and there's cancellation fees and all this stuff. So it sounds nice, like something we'd want to do. Like in the moment, we're like, oh man, how are these guys able to do this because it's real buzzy and it gets their name out there and that kind of thing. But our approach is just trying to get as close to the customer as possible and drive the most value for the customer as possible, and hopefully that results in them working with us for years and years.
Yeah. And you touched on, or you alluded to the fact that, it sounds like there's a vast customer base. I mean, let's dive into like understanding the generational CBD use pattern. You've got boomers, you've got millennials, you've got Gen Z. How are you seeing each of these generations use the product? And talk to me about just, use cases.
Yeah, and we've got it's really interesting whenever you dive into the demographics, and are we have a bunch of different products, right? And we've brought to life over 3,000 products over the past 14 years, and every product, even under the same brand umbrella, has different demographics in terms of like why someone might choose that product. There's a few main pillars that are common in terms of our customers' feedback, whether it's sleep is one big one, pain and pain management, and overall wellness. So those are the three main pillars. Now there's this recreational side of the hemp industry as well, on the small amounts of THC under the legal limit, the Farm Bill. And that might be just on the recreational side. That might just be like fun, just kind of instead of a glass of wine, I might have a gummy or two, that kind of thing. But really, it's in the wellness category, it's sleep, pain, and wellness. Just a lot of people are incorporating CBD into their daily routine instead of medicine or overall vitamins. We try to put things that people are already using as in their daily routine and combine that with CBD to try to like eliminate an extra step for someone within their daily routine. For example, we have gummies that are like turmeric and spirulina and all kinds of other good things for your body plus CBD. So to answer your question about demographics, definitely, our older customers are all about pain and sleep for the most part. The younger millennial, Gen Z types are more in it for the wellness or recreation side of things. People, I'm reading all these stats each week, and people are drinking less and less, and so they're going for something with a little less calories, but that'll also help them take the edge off of the life stresses and things like that. And so we see a lot of that as well within our CBD and THC category.
Yeah, I find it interesting that, and I know it makes sense, but like how THC or hemp and cannabis products get put into the category of like alcohol,
Yeah.
where it's like a vice or it's like something to unwind. And I get why they say it, because like, yeah, recreation wise, that's what you'd use it for in substitute of alcohol. But what I find fascinating is that, there's no value add to alcohol at all. Like there's nothing that is good when you drink alcohol in terms of your body, but when you
Yeah.
consume hemp or cannabis, our genetic makeup is biologically married to these plants, right? We have a
Yeah.
CB1 receptor, we have a CB2 receptor. So I find it interesting when people push back and they're like, or they dismiss cannabis and hemp altogether, and they, when alcohol is fully legal, when they
Yeah.
don't understand like there is actually like medicinal benefit. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of natural. I mean, so
It's not just
yeah.
like the Woodstock types that are, that are enjoying it. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and I love how you broke down kind of like the use cases for each generation. Is there a way in which you guys tailor your message and products across these generational
Yeah, for
demographics?
sure. And the marketing minds within the team, that we talk about this on a daily basis. Yesterday we had a whole meeting about um, segmenting out different customers in their overall customer journey with us, and making sure that the message is more tailored towards what would resonate with them at their age, right? Or their gender. And so we're doing a lot of, and AI is helping out with this a lot also. And we've done deep dives into, different surveys with our customers, or cross checks with databases and things and our customers, have this little profile within our site. So you would speak to a 65-year-old woman a lot different than you'd speak to a 25-year-old guy. And so they're tailoring these messages much differently, but it's in an automated way, because we're sending, millions and millions of emails a day. it's got to be automated and it's got to be trustworthy so that you're confident it's not going to make a mistake and call you Cindy or Stephanie or something. You know what I mean? And like talk about a product that you didn't purchase in the past and that kind of thing. A lot of it too, we sell CBD vape products, for example, and if someone's been a customer for a year, let's say, and they've bought our creams and our capsules, we wouldn't necessarily want to market to them a product that we don't think that would interest them. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of trying to be intentional about putting in front of them something that would be a value add to their overall, habits, and not a distraction or a reason for them to unsubscribe or that kind of thing.
Right, right.
We're having fun
Yeah.
with that now. There's a lot more tools available, this last year or so that weren't, 5 years ago, looking back.
Yeah. No, email marketing's a beast. I completely understand, like, the nurture process and kind of understanding where they're at in their buying cycle or their journey and
Yeah.
matching those messages to the right people. There's a science behind it. So
Yeah.
hats off to the email marketing teams that execute that work.
Yeah.
Um, how has the CBD industry evolved over the last decade? You've been in the game since 2014, as you talked about earlier. So, reflect on any type of changes you've seen overall, and when it comes to maybe consumer behavior, to legislation, to viewpoints and perception, etc.
Yeah. Well, that's a loaded question too. You got a bunch of good ones today. Yeah. Um,
This is what
the
we do, man.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it. In the beginning, from 2014, I'd say to like 2019, it was just boom, 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 boom. Like you could do a half-ass job, pardon my French, but and you'd still be growing year over year. Because there was so much buzz and news and around CBD as this new emerging category and hemp as this new emerging um, product, and that it was just all the rage, right? So that's when all these companies started doing these bigger deals or raising a bunch of money and that kind of thing. Now, since 2020, 2021 or so, everything stabilized a lot, and it's a lot more competitive, but with a fewer number of real players in the space. There's probably like 4 or 5 people that are like actual competitors that we kind of like look at as competitive peers that are doing a good job. And I'm sure there's a lot more companies and things, but like in terms of the direct to consumer space and guys that have been doing this for a while, and there's like 4 or 5 that we look at and benchmark ourselves against. And at one point there was thousands, and there was new companies popping up every day with funding and things like that. So all of that to say, every time there's like this new emerging popular category, there's a lot of awareness and consumer buzz around it, whether that's the ashwagandha or mushrooms or like acai berry back in the day and that kind of stuff. Like so you lose a little bit of that pizzazz when it comes to not being the new guy or the new thing, but there I strongly believe that CBD is here to stay as an ingredient in all of these popular form factors. And we hear from people on a daily basis in terms of how this has changed their life, and now they're able to run around with their kids on or grandkids on the front lawn and that kind of thing. So that kind of stuff keeps us going, and the competitive side keeps us going a lot. I think the brain share of the business here, we all share that competitive spirit a bit. And we're friends with all of our competitors and talk and share some information, but at the same time, we want to win, right? We want to go out and compete. So I think that keeps us going too. And the challenge is innovation too, because once you've covered all of the popular form factors, what else can you develop? You have to kind of think outside the box or smell the coffee beans and then you'd be like, okay, let's not just do this because we know that these are the main categories of the main form factors, but how can we be a little bit more creative, even though we have hundreds of products and are covering all the bases kind of thing. So it's fun. It's a challenge for sure, but it's fun.
No, I bet. And what's the journey been like navigating the post crackdown, from the FDA in terms of unsubstantiated claims? Has that
Yeah.
been something? I mean, we talked about marketing earlier, and that's basically marketing in like the era of scrutiny, right? So how have y'all gone about it?
Yeah, I think all of the larger brands that are forward facing, especially online, have received a warning letter at some point in time based around specific verbiage on their site. So it's really hard to talk about. Today CBD is still not regulated in the U.S. Or approved to put in food items, right? So um, so we have to be really careful about like what we call our gummies. Is it a nutritional fact panel? Is it a food supplement panel? That kind of thing. So we have a lot of legal advice on that kind of stuff just to make sure that we're best practice and towing the line. Um, and we have to take compliance really seriously because we care about our brand and our customers and obviously our business and the livelihoods of everybody that works here and that kind of thing. Um, so it um, we reviewed these letters, not only to us but to some of the other really notable largest brands in the space, and then we developed a methodology to make sure that we had all the boxes checked around compliance on product pages, on the whole website, on blogs, and things like that. And specifically on reviews, we had to go in our review portal and basically unpublish like tens of thousands of reviews because these people are saying, "Hey, this really helped me with my arthritis or whatever." You can't say that because it's like an implied claim. If we publish that on our website, the FDA views it as an implied claim, and I understand that's the rule. But we did, and so
That's it's so crazy that you have to remove something that someone else said and
yeah,
you not
yeah,
like saying it for them or marketing with that
yeah,
messaging.
and
Like, man, what a hurdle. And at
yeah,
the time I imagine your team probably had to manually remove it and review and remove those, right? Because AI
within
didn't
40,
exist. So
within 48 hours we have a list now, and the list is a living, breathing thing because customer service will flag something. Hey, should this word be there? Because it's some ailment I've never heard of or something. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. We keep adding to this blacklist of words, and now we can filter those out automatically with them not being published. But yeah, it was definitely um, yeah, it's frustrating because these are real people that said, "Hey, I had all this pain in my shoulder, and now I don't. I've been using this for 3 4 weeks, and it's making a huge difference." And we can't say that. We can't let them say that because it's implying that this will take away their pain, kind of thing.
yeah,
Everybody's different, like you said about the receptors in our body and that kind of thing, and everybody reacts different to things. So I get it. And we want to follow the rules,
sure.
even if it's frustrating sometimes. So, um, FDA, if you're listening, we're following the rules. Yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So talk to me now about the state of the CBD industry in 2025. We talked a little bit about oversaturation. So how are you guys standing out in a crowded space? And then like what trends are you seeing in terms of uh the rise of minor cannabinoids and things of that such nature?
Yeah. Good question. The So right now it's like I said, it's tougher to can maintain the growth, and it's even tougher to be profitable in this space and compete with some of these guys because all of our peers, for the most part, aren't profitable. We are operating and grading ourselves as if we were a publicly traded company, and we have these monthly goals and look backs in terms of our financials, things like that, to make sure that we can maintain our business for years to come and not be subject to the next fundraising or whatever. So, so um, it's tough on the wellness side. Now, what all the minor cannabinoids and all the recreational stuff is a much easier sell to customers, and it seems to be what more customers are gravitating towards. There's a lot more people that want to take a load off and replace that glass of wine at the end of the night. Then there are that want to take a CBD gummy every day for a few weeks, and then say, yeah, I do feel a difference. Like it's like that instant gratification kind of thing. I think
Hmm.
as humans, that's just a natural thing. So, but that's neat. Not to say that we don't have tens of thousands of customers that are enjoying their CBD products on a monthly basis. It's just when we're thinking about advertising and trends over the last couple of years, probably since about 2002 to 2022, the recreational side of the hemp category has definitely been where their tailwinds are. And I feel like, and our peers also, we just catch up once in a while, and they're feeling the same thing when it comes to the wellness side. It's tougher to maintain growth at the same rate as prior years. But we just have to work harder in order to do it, and it's possible, and we're doing it on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. But it's definitely more competitive. You have to work twice as hard to do the same business, that kind of thing.
Hmm. And I mean, just looking back on what we talked about earlier, the generational consumer base, uh, do you see one particular generation, say like millennials, gravitating more toward the rec, or is it kind of run the gamut of all the generations that we discussed?
It's crazy, but it runs the gamut. That's the one category that, there's 60 plus year olds and 25-year olds that are it's the pie is pretty equal when you look at it at the end of the month or quarter. For the
I would
most part,
imagine the formulations are different though among them, right? Like, do some like millennials may go to like vapes compared to like older boomers who take gummies? Is it skewed that way?
It's
Or
mainly it's mainly gummies.
okay.
It's just the most widely accessible form factor. I think it's a little less scary. It's a little and it's just more accepted, I think.
Hmm.
In terms of the other categories, that baby boomers are for the most part gravitate towards pain, and millennials for stress, and Gen Z for the wellness and recreation side of things. Everybody for recreation, but yeah,
No,
it's
that's interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up, Jameson, is there anything that you want to talk about that's top of mind, maybe in terms of CBDfx's product strategy or what you guys have in the pipeline coming up?
Yeah, we're actually in the middle of working on some category expansions that are in the wellness space, but may or may not incorporate CBD into those products. So it's a little tricky when your name is CBDfx. So, but
I was gonna ask that, but you brought it up. So, and you know what? That's not like that was the thing, right? In 2014, when everybody was kind of CBD was it. So
yeah,
that's got to be a marketing challenge in itself to kind of also give love to those other cannabinoids, right?
there was a period of time where the FDA sent a warning letter to a brand that because they had CBD on the front of their label, and they said, "Hey, we haven't ruled on the legality of this in the gummy yet." So the proper label, a lot of the compliance lawyers around the country at the time said, "This we should say hemp extract on the label, this many milligrams of hemp extract instead of CBD." So everybody, all the professional guys that changed their label structure and whatnot. And we actually had an advantage because of CBD was in our brand name. So if a customer is walking down a CVS aisle or something and they see the CBDfx bottle, but it says hemp extract, they like kind of
They know
correlate
it's
it
CBD.
together.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it helped us for a couple of years until I don't know, some the lawyers changed their advice and everybody went back to putting CBD on the It's crazy.
Well, the fact that you guys have legacy helps in itself, right? I mean, from an
True.
SEO standpoint, from
Yeah.
from all the above. So, no, I enjoyed the conversation today, Jameson. I really appreciate your time. Where can people find y'all's website and maybe and social media channels if they want to learn more about the
Yeah.
company?
Yeah, CBDfx.com, CBD, the letter F, the letter X.com. And on Instagram, it's just CBDfx and an underscore. Yeah, those are the two main channels, but CBDfx.com, come check us out.
Nice. I'll be sure to put those links in the description box for YouTube. And yeah, appreciate you having you on and look forward to doing this again sometime.
This is great, Kevin. Thanks again. Appreciate you.
Awesome. And thank you all for listening. Bye.
Cannabinoid Connect. the nation's most diverse cannabis related podcast.